Rumble and YouTube family, welcome. I'm back. And though there may be a couple of you in here in the house tonight, I'm so happy to see y'all. You guys are like a breath of fresh air. Make me smile all day, from grin from ear to ear. I'm very happy to be here tonight, y'all. Welcome to Truer Tuesday, where every Tuesday, as many Tuesdays as we can, we try to make it happen for y'all. We try to educate everybody, bring you guys to the realization of what this earth truly is. And we already know it ain't a ball, all right? It ain't a globe, none of that, okay? Not oblonged, not a ellipsoid, whatever you want to name it. So, first order of business. How is everyone? I haven't heard from y'all in weeks. I apologize for that. I was pretty much getting my act together. I got a little bit of the boot, I think, from YouTube. I don't know if YouTube can see me right now, but if you can see me off of YouTube, great. Other than that, YouTube gave me the boot for a little bit, kind of to make me lick my paws and everything, strictly because I was just saying a little bit too much that they didn't really appreciate. Oh well, YouTube can eat a dick in that case. I don't make money for this thing anyway, so it is what it is. And it's I'm just happy to see y'all, right? At the end of the day, I just want to present the truth. I don't want to keep anything hidden from y'all, and I just want to keep it that way. It's always a pleasure to see you guys. Um, you guys are basically my backbone, and thanks for showing up tonight. I know it's a little bit late, and some of you guys have work. Maybe all of you guys have work. You have something to do in the morning, but I will do this regardless of the time, just to make sure that I'm getting information out to you guys. Just as long as we get together on a weekly basis. Oh, all right. So let me stop kissing everybody's booty. And hello, Shannon Emerson and Half Warrior. You guys are amazing. Thank you for joining us tonight. Yes, thank you. And whoever you other two guys are, thank you for coming. Join us here on the uh, comment section, which since I ain't got access to YouTube because they decided they wanted to be a couple of pee holes and not have me on, it is what it is, man. I ain't even mad. You know what I'm saying? Net CBD, brother, what's good? What's happening? It's always a pleasure. Now, we had the eclipse last night. I don't know if everybody got to see it and enjoy it. I did. I got to watch it from where I am in Virginia, Northern Virginia, and it was okay. Now, in the Northeast, where I am, we had the conditions of overcast, right? It was a little bit cloudy with a chance of meatballs. Get that? But anyway, it was cloudy as hell outside. And what I noticed was as soon as we had something resembling totality, which we didn't have totality in Virginia, you had a string of airplanes flying overhead. It was amazing. You know what I'm saying? Like anytime I looked up with my camera or my telescope, all you had were airplanes flying overhead and streaking behind and leaving stuff in the way of the like directly overhead of the sun, directly over me. Now, even though the sun looked like it was over my head at like 3:15 at at that time, based off of where the plane was, directly over my head, just cutting through. And then another plane on the other side, doing the same thing over and over again. And it was traveling west. It was traveling west, basically the path of the sun. It was unbelievable. And while I'm watching this, I'm like, you can't make this stuff up. Like, it's unreal. So you have a couple of things, right? Even though it didn't rain yesterday, what we do have basic science where these guys can seed clouds. So this is phenomena that's been going on for a long time. Right? This is stuff that we can generate. We can make rain clouds if the environment is average. Right? So basically, places like Arizona, Utah, Texas, in many areas where they don't normally have big rainfall, they will find clouds and seed them with things called ice nuclei. right? I just learned this stuff. It's pretty amazing, I think. And they will do their best to increase the chances of those sparse clouds becoming rain clouds. So I think this is something we should do a little bit more research on. And yeah, it's actually totally amazing. Oh, plus you have countries out there like Bahrain and Saudi Arabia that do the ice nuclei or the ice seeding as well, just because it's like mad parched over there too. Why they don't do it in a place like the Sahara Desert, it's beyond me. It is what it is. But you have places where they generate a lot of money, i.e., Saudi Arabia and Oman and all those places in the Middle East. Uh, because of course they have, it's a big tourist area, right? Places like Dubai and stuff like that. And these are places where you have a lot of athletes going to play, you name a sport, but they have their open arenas and stuff, and so these guys don't suffer from the heat. If they need to let it rain a little bit, they're going to make it rain, right? They're just going to make it rain. So yeah, so it's all that craziness, man. I'm telling you, these dudes is out there playing God, and we got a lot of us got to sit there and witness it ourselves yesterday, right, during this eclipse. And it's telling because we had a couple of guys do a phenomenal job with showing what the sun actually looks like being eclipsed by whatever this thing was. Like people are talking stuff about us, but if you watch this video I'm about to show you, if you watch this, it's quite telling how with how the sun approached what many call the moon, with how the sun came and approached it. I'll just show you the video. I'll let you guys watch the video and then we can discuss it from there. Saying because it's a little bit wild down, but definitely something worth discussing. So I'm gonna bring it up to you guys. Present screen YouTube. Yeah, there we go. Shit. So right here is the video of Terry Eicher. Shout out to Terry Eicher. He does a bang up job with everything. You know what I'm saying? As far as his research, all that. Like, shout out to Terry Eicher. Check it out. And now, that's one thing I want to point out also. If you look at these flames, they're not moving. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know what it is that's on the outside or the outer ring of that eclipse, but they look like tongues of flame. We've seen guys like Effed Up World make productions where you see these tongues of flame, and it's phenomenal. It's an amazing job that these guys do. An amazing job that these guys do, but at the same time, these flames don't move. Every time I've seen a flame, every time I've seen a moving flame, or every time I've seen a flame, I haven't seen a frozen flame. So this is real life footage or live footage that Terry Eicher's producing. And of course, he made the video film, and let's check out this. This is Terry Eicher's latest project. See that? Not even moving.
That's no moon. If it was, you would have seen it right before the eclipse and right after the eclipse. We haven't seen the moon in the sky all. If that were the moon, it would have been lit up so bright right before it eclipsed the sun, brighter than we normally see it. But we didn't see that at all, and it would have been the same thing right after the eclipse. You would have seen the moon brighter than ever before, but you didn't. You didn't see it nowhere today except for this one time right here. If it were the moon, this is how it would have looked. If you believe what they tell you, This is how it would look right here. But it doesn't. That's not the way it looked. That's not what you see today. You didn't see the moon until it was supposedly covering the sun, because it wasn't the moon. This is what you saw. You seen a black object the same size as the sun move across it and turn it to darkness. But you didn't see that object before it got there, and you didn't see it after it passed the sun. Like I just showed you right here. This is what you would have seen if they were telling you the truth. But that's not what you've seen, is it? That's not what you've seen at all. You didn't see the moon before it supposedly crossed the sun. You didn't see it after. This is what you've seen.
Yes, I can NOCD. I can do that right now.
Now go back and listen to the song Black Hole Sun, and you will understand what you're looking at.
Yeah, I'm putting it in the StreamYard chat. There it is. Hopefully you guys get it. That is Terry Eicher's video. Shout out again to Terry Eicher. Fair use, fair use. I guess that's what you say. I don't know. But shout out to Terry Eicher. He does amazing work when it comes to this. Very, very intelligent. I love this stuff. I love this stuff.
Now you can talk all that moron, stupid, NASA bullcrap all you want to, but you did not see that moon before it crossed the sun, and you did not see that moon after it passed the sun. In reality, you should have. You being lied to, people. It's time to wake up.
Again, awesome video, very good material. Shout out to Terry Eicher. Now, this is what I want you guys to know, that just because something came and obstructed the view of the sun doesn't make it the moon. But notice how the moon covered it perfectly. Well, if you saw the eclipse in totality, the moon covered the sun perfectly, obviously with the exception of the brightness on the outside. Now, let's let me go here. I'm going to show you guys something else. So he made a really good point, because if the sun was approaching from a distance, right, roughly 92 million miles and change, 90 million miles, something like that, and change, if the sun were approaching, making an approach on the moon like that, it would have shown from a distance. We would have seen the face of the moon with how it doesn't spin at all, or it thinks it spin with the earth. We would have seen the face of the moon. Okay. Now, so if you look outside, or you take a look at where the moon is, because we should all see something with the moon, you're going to see, if you take a look with your telescope, you're going to see a very small percentage of the moon. Let me show you. It's going to be at like 1%. People know this. And you're welcome, Half Warrior, not a problem. Let me get rid of that. Okay. So the moon right now should be showing, but it's not going to be a great portion of the moon. It's going to be a very, very skinny sliver of what the moon is going to present. So that's because it's coming into view. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, is it waning right now? I'm not sure the direction. I'm not sure where it is. But the moon is going to be showing just a small percentage of it, right? And so if the moon is being shown, or if the portion of the moon that we're seeing is getting sunlight, then to some degree we should see some of the moon. But if the moon is going to be covering up the sun, we should have seen a lot more of it. I mean, There is no convincing anybody that's in the globe. Their thing is that they totally feel empowered and they feel as if we're going to be wrong. So, you know what? Because at the end of the day, here's one thing I know, right? If the moon is giving us reflected sunlight, then the result of reflected sunlight should be heat, right? Some degree of heat, which we don't get. We're not getting. So let me stop that screen right there. Okay. Yeah. So we're not getting that. So the moon's phase right now is at 1%. Current moon phase tonight. That's all I want, man. Come on, man. Y'all giving me a headache. Okay. So it looks like it's a waxing moon. It's not a waning moon. I apologize. Just so you guys could see for yourselves, here it is. Present arms. And I'm all about OQE. No, get this nonsense out of here. Right. So this is what you'd be seeing, right? The outer rim of the moon, that right there. April 9th, waxing crescent, illumination 1% of the moon, which if you give it some time and you look in the section of the sky where the moon should be right now, this is what you'd see. Now the way you could tell if it's a waxing or a waning, obviously the direction of the crescent, right? Or the direction of half the lemon. So if the direction is this way in the shape of a D, it's a waxing dog, right? A D waxing dog. And then if it's in the opposite direction, and say this yellow part right here is like this right there, it's a waning cat. It's a waning C. It's a waning cat, right? A waning C moon. So that's how you tell the difference between waxing and waning. Because as the moon passes it and makes its phases throughout the month, this is how we do our observations of, okay, it's a waxing, it's a waning. Hey, man. My bad. Excuse me, y'all. Dang, I got a bee that flew up in my house, man, from outside. I've got tulips growing out front. And now these bees want inside, man. No, man, I hate bugs, yo. Real talk. I do not like bugs. Sorry. I'm sorry. That's mad unprofessional, but y'all gonna have to forgive me. I do not like bugs. Straight up. Dang. Can't stand them jokers, bro. Anyway. Oh, Lord have mercy. All right, so I'm gonna remove that. Okay, yeah. So that's that. I'm in total agreement with David Terry Eicher, excuse me. So we've been having a lot going on these last few days, right? As I mentioned, coming up before the eclipse, I didn't have a flat Earth, or rather True Earth Tuesday last week, and I missed Flat Earth Friday. I apologize, y'all. I was busy, but there was a lot going on last week. Uh, I don't know if you guys know, but I just dropped a video of our boy, Pastor Greg Locke. I don't know if you know this, but check this out. So raise your hands if you know what's been going on with Greg Locke as of late. If you don't know, I'm about to show y'all. I'm about to put y'all on. So recently, Pastor Greg Locke had a little bit of an issue with his church, right? He's been having everything, man. A lot of people have been coming in, and a lot of people have been coming in and going out. It seems like his congregation is running out like a sieve. Turn the 15-day month. Yeah. So his congregation has been leaving like a sieve. It's like crazy. Either way, family, as you come in, please don't forget to hit those likes. Hit those likes, whether you're on Rumble or whether you're on YouTube. Hit the likes. Show me some love. Hit the likes. Hit the likes. But so Pastor Greg Locke has been going through it. If y'all don't remember, on the 3rd of December last year, Pastor Greg Locke, Pastor Dean Odell had their debate as to whether the earth is flat or if the earth is flat or if the earth is a globe. So as I predicted, as many of us predicted, Pastor Greg Locke was not prepared for that debate and he got smoked. Matter of fact, it wasn't a debate. It was more my man, he dunked on him. I hate to say it, but Pastor Dean Odell like dunked on him, rubbed his genitalia on his dome, and it wasn't fun. It wasn't pretty. I felt kind of bad for Pastor Greg, but hey, it is what it is, man. He asked for it, and he was so sure of himself, but he wasn't ready. That's all right because you move on, you learn. Apparently, something went down. He didn't learn. I want to show y'all this. If you hadn't seen it, you got to see it. If you hadn't seen it on my Rumble, you got to see it on this here. Check it out. Okay, so this right here is from Oh yeah, nah. Wow. Yeah, they're not. There we go. So this is from a guy named Caleb Park, right? I want y'all to check this out and enjoy it. And where we at? Zoop, zoop, and zoop right there. Check that out.
Tennessee. Authorities say the fire was intentionally set. A trailer of 200 Bibles dropped off around 6 a.m. Sunday morning at an intersection in front of Global Vision Bible Church before a man burned them. The church's pastor, Greg Locke, shocked after returning from Israel just a day before, says the building has been vandalized a number of times, but never anything like this. An investigation is ongoing.
So you heard it. He said that the building has been, or where his church is, had been vandalized a whole bunch of times, right? Or he just said a number of times. I'm gonna go ahead and make it up as I go along. But when he said that, now we have to think of the period of when that debate went down. The debate went down on December 3rd. Since then, we've had all the launches and we've had everything, right? My question is this: Has Pastor Greg Locke admitted, like, hey, I got it wrong? You know what I'm saying? I thought I knew he was the better man that day. He won that debate, hands down. It's a matter of pride. But everything came to a head on that Easter Sunday. If you didn't know, they dropped off 200 burnt Bibles in front of his church and his congregation, 6 a.m. before anything got started. 200 burned Bibles. 200. Dropped it off. So I have a couple of questions, right? I have a few questions. Who could have done something like that, right? Number one. Number two, if your building was vandalized a few times, did you not have security footage of anybody coming to and or around that church and vandalizing? Did you not see anybody coming in and doing any of that stuff? And three, 200 Bibles, bro. 200 burnt scriptures books. 200. So my thing is I don't think that Pastor Greg Locke has repented. I don't think that he has learned his lesson. I don't think that he's admitted loss, where he is admitted to, hey, you know what? Maybe I need to take a round turn and look at the scriptures again. Because right there, it goes to show you that the man lost the debate. He lost plenty of his congregation. And right now it's starting to show. because you never heard of anything happening to his church like that beforehand. But since December 3rd, it seems as if these guys have been having problem after problem. So I'm starting to think, because here's the thing: a lot of times, flat Earth folk, when we know the truth, we know their globe so well, we take the high road. We tend to take the high road because it's like the truth defends itself. All we could do is pronounce the truth. That's it. You know what I'm saying? All we can do is tell you what it is. At the end of the day, if you want to believe it, that's all up to you. If you don't want to believe it, that's all up to you too. You know what I'm saying? We just going to keep it moving. And those that want to hear the truth, then will profess the truth. But in the meantime, the correlation between the debates and the burned Bible. Well, I mentioned that. I'm saying, so again, if you want to know let me finish my thought. In the meantime, I'll get to that, but let me finish my thought. In the meantime, we're going to profess the truth as we know. And then, since we're at the party early, you guys will just catch up. And so it just ruffles my feathers a little bit. And I know I shouldn't let it ruffle my feathers like that, but it shouldn't have to ruffle my feathers the way it does. But you have guys like MC Toon or Mick Toon. All of us call him Mick Toon, right? And what it is that this guy is going to bring this nonsense math. And I call it nonsense math because we've proven to him the biggest math, their math, that their math does not prove globe. Their math proves flat every single time. Every single time. Every single time. Not one time have we seen curvature. Because not only are we going to see curvature this way, but if you're going to see some kind of curvature, you'd have to experience it also going this way. You'd have to see it not only going forward, but also from left to right and right to left, vice versa, right? We don't experience that unless, obviously, it is a parabolic lens, which we don't see that. And when that parabolic lens matches up with what we have on the horizon, when it matches up perfectly, even then it's straight. But as soon as you pan it up, it's a parabola. And then as soon as you pan it down, what happens? It concaves. So when you explain this to people like MC Toon and Fight the Flat Earth and Professor Dave and all these other guys, like, they're good at the ridicule. They're good at the mockery. They just kicked me off of the Facebook group because I was going ahead. It was me versus like 81,000 people. I felt like I was in the middle of like one of those games where you're fighting monsters left and right, and your screen slows down. You know what I'm saying? And so I was just giving it to them, and so they pretty much like silenced me on that page on Facebook, and it was the Flat Earth Proof Facebook with 82,000 viewers. So you even had pilots come out and say, but on both sides. So check this out. And I'll get to your point here in a second now. So you had a couple of pilots come out and say, I'm a pilot and the Earth is a globe because. And I'm like, that's a lie, but I'm going to listen to you. And then you had pilots on the opposite side, the flat side, say, I'm a pilot and the Earth is flat because. So these are compelling arguments. But at the end of the day, we all know what the truth is. And it's unfortunate that these globe people are still falling for the hook. And now, why do I think that's a problem? Well, I'll give you that here in a second. Let's get to the chat real quick. So, Jimmy Satterfield, hello. Shannon, hello. Half, hello. And how you doing? Nano CBD, always a pleasure, my friend. Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. And yeah, it was the cloud seeding and geoengineering, man. That was the latest. I mean, I don't know too much about cloud seeding, but I do know that they've been using it for quite some time. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that did not look like the moon. And I saw one from Leo. I saw also one from world, and I saw the one that what's his name produced, Terry Eicher. So my assumption was that that was Terry Eicher that produced that one. You know what I'm saying? And I know Leo just made a video also, but Leo also made one in regards to Leo also made a video in regards to what they claimed was the ISS hovering over the Earth, watching the eclipse. But my thing is this, like, okay, if here's my thing, you can have one showing the ISS do that, right? But you can also fake it as well. So while you have one looking at the shadow being projected onto the Earth from the moon, then at the same time you can do us that solid, and then you can have 1,090. Listen, guys, we have 9,500 sensors in space. They claim, right? 9,500 satellites floating out there in space. You can't get a couple of them trained onto what the sun and the moon is doing. Not to mention you have Voyager 1, Voyager 2. Not to mention you have the James Webb Space Telescope. Not to mention you also have the Chinese, you have a Chinese probe. You have a Japanese probe. You have an American probe that they say is dead. You have the Indian probe, right? The last three that I mentioned, the American, the Japanese, and the Indian, were the last three probes to make it to the moon. None of them jokers could take a look and see what that damn eclipse was doing. None of them jokers could take a look and show the Earth, because apparently the moon is like hovering right above the Earth. You could have at least shown that, right? Or you could have at least shown something to where we could have seen, oh wow, I never would have figured that this would be the perspective of the Earth, because the moon's front should be black. Nothing like that. Nothing of the sun approaching the backside of the moon, right? Nothing. Like they didn't show anything. They didn't show anything days prior to show the moon circling the Earth, showing the sun, hey, this is the sun right now. It's getting ready to then be eclipsed by the moon, by this body that we're sitting on, right? They didn't show anything like that. Let me tell you something. There's so many people, right? And this is why footage and documentation is a priority for everything, right? It shows just how human nature works, right? Everybody that was filming the eclipse, guess what? They filmed what they did that morning. They filmed, hey, here's me getting up and I'm taking a piss right now. They filmed, I washed my hands after taking a piss. Now I'm going to go eat breakfast. Hopefully they brush their teeth too, right? They filmed, hey, I'm on the way to the site. Here's me putting my telescope in the car that I'm going to use while filming this eclipse. I'm doing everything leading up to the event at hand. This is what normal people do. And with stuff that we can actually prove that we've done as human beings, not only as Americans, but we tend to do the same thing that normal people do. The government does, media does, movie stars do, everybody does, right? Except during the eclipse. I just find that so strange. So they give us CGI footage of what the eclipse is. They give us, and then you know what? We get people, and then it doesn't fail to have Globers come around and then say, oh, look at you flat earthers, you guys are idiots. Let me show you exactly what I'm talking about. Because you have these Globers sitting there trying to clown us about what it is we saw, or what it is that they claimed that they saw. It's unreal. It's unreal how these people are just going to sit there, lie right in our face, and expect us to continue, or they expect us to now we believe you. Now we believe you. No, we're not going to believe you. Like your lie is falling apart at the seams. It's like we grabbed the damn beginning of the string popping out the sweater and we unraveled it. Now you've got like a sleeve left and your sweater is undone, and we see your naked body for what it is. Let me show y'all. It's unreal, these guys. Like the lies is just, it's just ridiculous. Yeah, and Nano CBD, I agree, that was not the move. And yes, what I'm going to show you guys is footage from Leo Level Earth Observer. If you haven't subscribed to him, please make sure you do. Also, if you haven't subscribed to Terry Eicher, excuse me, make sure you sub to him as well. Like I said, these guys have on point footage. And one of the things that I like about Level Earth Observer is how he observes. He takes a close look at what these guys are trying to feed us, the nonsense they try to feed us, and he breaks it all down. Kind of like the Apollo Shield guys do, but only difference is they're not true earthers. Level Earth Observer, my hat's off to you, brother. Terry Eicher, same as well. You guys do awesome work. Taxpayer-funded weather modification programs turned a 15-day month rain season to a zero days in 8 months. That's a very good point, Nano CBD. I'm going to highlight that right there. So, taxpayer-funded weather modification programs turned a 15-day per month rain season to 0 days in 8 months. Crop failure in 95% of rural Canada. Yeah. And so this is one of their ways to kind of make the farmer useless, right? Because they're doing their best to make farmers totally irrelevant in Europe. They're doing the same thing in the U.S., but what the U.S. is doing, farmers have gotten together and banded together in the U.S. to start making their own slaughterhouses, not funded by the government at all, funded by us, the people. And I highly recommend we support it. Now, the thing is once we do, the government's going to sweep in and then they're going to penalize us for that. And then they're probably going to hit us with taxes. And it's going to get to a point to where they're like, yo, if we catch you buying beef from these farmers, right, from these slaughterhouses, we're going to fine you and then hold you in contempt of court, whatever, but eventually send us to jail. Let me continue. Half word. No idea with Locke. Maybe his congregation is learning about this, about the true earth. That's right. Truth South Set You Free. How you doing? Hi, Truth. Hey, Half. You guys are doing awesome. You guys, I'm glad that you guys are here, and I'm glad to be here with you guys. What's the correlation between the debate and the burned Bibles? Here's the thing, Nano CBD. What I feel, and I could be wrong. I've been wrong before, but what I feel the correlation is between the debate, the burned Bibles, and right now is that Pastor Greg Locke hasn't repented. Right? I should have said that when I was doing my little rant after that 28-second video. But Pastor Greg Locke hasn't repented for his ways. Pastor Greg Locke hasn't repented because he was wrong. Pastor Dean Odell proved that his globe was not a globe at all, that the Bible describes the earth as true, level, flat, and plane. Flat, right? Circle of the earth. Everything else from, Genesis down through Revelations and everything else, how the earth is constructed. He refused to admit his fallacies and how he was wrong. And so I'm sure, or I'm assuming that his congregation saw that he didn't turn for the best. And they figured this guy isn't about what the Bibles and the scriptures say. So perhaps they burned those Bibles because of that. Perhaps they felt he doesn't believe what the Bible says either. He's all about money. He's such a prideful man. He's so full of pride and ego that he refused to admit where he erred. And so his flock saw that, they got away from him. They left the whole sack of Bibles and left them right there. I could guarantee you he lost a lot of people after that debate, and how poor a sport he was after that debate. You know what I'm saying? He lost a lot of his congregation, and I kind of felt bad. I made a video based off of that before it happened, weeks before it, like a month before it. I made a video, and I was like, man, what are you going to do? Are you going to change, or are you going to remain the same? It doesn't sound as if he's changed, right? And because of that, you now see the results of that. 200 burned Bibles on Easter Sunday in front of his church, which sucks. That sucks. Greg Locke has been screaming, Israel, that's Shannon, right on time, right on point, that Israel needs to start World War III and build a temple and sacrifice the red heifer, I think people aren't too keen on that. That's another thing. Yes, Shannon, that I did not know. But Pastor Greg Locke is about that money, man. He is about the mainstream. He's about that money. Also, we need to remember that these guys are 501c3 driven, right? So basically, nonprofit organizations. Until you start talking out of turn, saying some stuff that those up there don't like, right? Those in those powers and principalities that they don't like you talking about, then they're going to try and knock you down a few pegs. You know what I'm saying? They're going to try and knock you down a few pegs, and when they do, they're taking that tax money with them, and then they're going to leave you high and dry, and then you're going to be having to pay that tax for all that property, all that land, all that churching that you're doing, all that preaching that you're doing. When you tell them the truth, they don't like that. They don't like that. When you start bringing people together, when you start bringing black and white together, they don't like that either. They do not like that. They don't profit from it. Once we start bringing the power, the real power, which is the people, us together, and we start making it happen, it's over for them. It's over for them. And so you can't do that with countries like Israel running everything, because you got to think when you got, and Shannon Emerson, that's a very good point. When you have countries like Israel running everything, you have to also see who runs the media. Now we ain't even afraid of admitting the truth no more. Yeah, they run the media. They do. They run the media. They got our government by the nutsack. It is what it is. I'm sorry that I'm telling the truth, but you gonna get it, right? They got our government by the nutsack, but people are slowly waking up to the truth. And after what happened on October 7th, people are waking up quickly to the truth. And it's a scary feeling for a lot of folks, but it's a refreshing feeling for those of us that live in the truth, right? The truth is Genesis 1, 6 through 7. That's right. Now, CBD, no human has ever proved any movement on this plane. That's right. Let alone 66,000 miles an hour spinning at 1,000 miles, furthermore, zero curvature. Exactly. So the problem that you have with the globe, right, is that the Earth should be moving. I mean, like flying through space, not just turning, but the Earth should be flying through space at like 500,000 miles an hour, like 520 miles an hour, 520,000 miles an hour. Because if the Earth is, or if the sun is moving at 46,000 miles an hour, 460,000 miles an hour, excuse me, then you have to take into account the Earth speeding up just to catch up with the sun. So then that's got to be like 530,000 miles an hour just to outpace the sun so it could do its loop-de-loop and make its way back so we can experience fall and the wintertime. But that's too much like science. That's too much like right. And that's too much like that's not what's happening at all. It's more BS for us to sink our teeth into and to try and believe, right? But then once you mention things like that to globe folks, they get upset with you and then they just try to tell you that you don't understand science. But the problem is you know science and we know science a lot better than they do. We know science and we know the truth a lot better than they do, than they want to care to admit. Let's see. My joint is slow. So Shannon Emerson is saying, Locke is saying Israel needs to start the war to bring the Antichrist. He is a weirdo. And yeah, he's saying the most. That is damn near, that is like treason. That's treason. That's a form of treason. Because if you think about it, if you're begging for us to fight and start wars, you're begging for because this is what's going to happen. And it's already happening between Gaza and Hamas and everything else like that in that area. Israel got into this conflict with Hamas again. Do you not think that we're already involved with that nonsense going on over there, right, in the Eastern Med? We're totally involved. We don't want to, like many of us don't even want, and we don't want no smoke with those countries. but we're totally involved. That's the problem. Right? And so if we do get into a fight with Iran, or if Israel gets into a fight with Iran, who do you think has to back them up? It's almost like, and there is no offense, but you know what it kind of reminds me of? It kind of reminds me of that little dude that slaps the hell out of that big dude in a club. And that little dude knows he has like 50 dudes to back him up. And the 50 dudes are like, oh man, Junior's over there slapping people. We don't want to get into a fight. The guys that are always getting into a fight because Junior's always starting some shit because he knows that he's got our back, or that we've got his back, excuse me. Meanwhile, he's constantly getting us into fights that we don't want to get into. And Junior is starting shit again. And so Junior's there at it again, bombing people like Syria, bombing people like Iran. They just killed that general down in that Iranian general, the Quds Force, commander from Iran. They killed him in Syria. And now this is just forcing our hand. And the poor Joe Biden, you know what I'm saying? The dude is just, when it comes to leadership, man, it's like opposite day for him. And so it's unfortunate because he's saying, if you believe in the politics or not, which I kind of don't, but what he's claiming is that he's telling them about this red line, that Israel's like, whatever. They're just stepping right over it. They're bombing the hell out of these people, and they're pushing us and goading us to fight people that we have no business fighting. They've been pushing us towards this war for years. Israel has been forcing our hand on countries like Syria, Libya, Iraq, a lot of Eastern and Northern Africa. They've been pushing for this. I think it's a relief that we haven't gotten into any conflict with South Africa, with how South Africa wants to let the dogs loose of the criminal court on Israel, but you haven't heard about that because Israel is so, they've got these guys wound tight. This is why I mentioned that book. If you don't know, I'm going to put it in the comment section. The Lost Boys of Bird Island. That's the book name. The Lost Boys of Bird Island shows you in perfect detail. We just experienced it a few years ago with the death of Jeffrey Epstein. The Lost Boys of Bird Island shows you the crooked relationship between government officials and trafficking, human trafficking. This is how Israel wins, man. This is how they win. A lot of it is human trafficking. A lot of it is organ harvesting, the black market, stuff like that, Hollywood, and fooling and tricking everybody. So they do it again. They do it over and over again, and they seem to win. But you got NanoCBD. NASA's budget $27.2 billion in 2024. Yep. How about all the explosions at the slaughterhouses at random? Yes. The slaughterhouses, the food silos, all that. It's crazy. It's absolutely just, it blows your mind. And this has just been going on for like the last 6 years. You know what I'm saying? But when you mention it to people, they look at you like you got 10 heads. I was living in Washington State like 3 years ago. And then we had this one just burst into flames, a food silo. And I'm like, yo, did y'all hear about that food silo that went up in flames? They're like, yeah, so? And I'm like, NPCs. These people are idiots. Like, nobody cares. The layperson has no idea and they don't care. You could chop a person's arm off. People are so desensitized to the stuff going on around them. You could take a limb from them. You could take their pinky toe from them, and they'll give you a reason as to why they should have lost their pinky toe, or as to why it's a good thing that they lost their pinky toe. I'm serious. That's how silly and desensitized people have become these days. I'm dead serious. So I mentioned this, and I'm like, the pattern is coming. And this is where and as the pattern came, this is where I got with the Ghost of Judah tribe. Shout out to the Ghost. Sorry that I missed Flat Earth Friday. But this is what I got with the Ghost of Judah tribe. because I was like, it feels like I'm speaking into the wind with these nonsenses going on. So now I know I'm kind of something scatterbrained, but the food silos, the slaughterhouses, you had those 5,000 head of cattle that died one summer because they claimed that it was just too hot outside. It was so hot outside that all this cattle just died. This is what their claim was. I'm not shitting people. This is what they said. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, yo, it's been hotter in this region or in Kansas, wherever it was at that time. It's been hotter that same time of year, and these animals didn't die like that. Die. There it is. Unreal. Heat stress. Look at this. Yes, these guys. Oh boy. It was June in 2022. These guys are unreal. Like they know no bounds with their BS in their lives. That's right. The earth is described as immovable in scripture. 1 Corinthians, forgot chapter. Yeah. I think it's 1 Corinthians, and there's another one in 2 Corinthians. I forget which. When the earth moves, it's called an earthquake. That's right. They're moving 1 inch per year. No, not at all. Speaking of earthquake, my family had that earthquake over there in New York. That was quite an adventure dealing with that. And then there were aftershocks. And so the earthquake could be felt, from what I'm hearing, from Baltimore all the way up to Maine, right? And then the aftershocks could be felt from Baltimore all the way up to Maine. It was crazy. I didn't feel any aftershocks, but you could feel aftershocks afterwards in days even. I was in New York during, last weekend during the time of the earthquake and the aftershocks, but I didn't experience anything. But a lot of people in different places, Long Island and stuff like that. I was in New York City too, so I was none the wiser. I just knew that it had occurred, and it had occurred for like around 20 seconds. So that's a long ass time. If you've ever been in an earthquake, that's a long time for an earthquake, man. That's a long time. You know what I'm saying? I've been in an earthquake. I've been in small ones, like 5 seconds, 8 seconds. But that is a long time. Like I couldn't believe what's going on. But when you experience it, you're like, oh, what the heck? Yeah. But you see what I'm talking about? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. All these cattle die. Humidity kills hundreds of cattle during extreme heat and humidity in late July, August 7th, 2003, from Reuters. And Reuters is known to be quote unquote fact checkers, and they're liars too, because they fact check some BS when it comes to the dang cocoa. You know what I'm talking about. They fact check that, and they're full of it. You know, Reuters be lying. The other one was in 2022, June of 2022. Heat stress blamed for thousands of cattle deaths in Kansas, right? And then it was like 5,000 heads of cattle, something stupid like that. Mad cattle, like they said, at least 2,000 cattle died. And I'm like, man, come on, dude. I'm like, come on, man. Know that it don't get, everybody know that when it does get hot, them cattle will be just fine. Y'all kill them. You know what I'm saying? Here's the one for the 5,000 heads of cattle. Y'all eat that. There it is in the chat. Y'all check it out. I put it in the description box. Not the description box, excuse me, the chat right there. Right? And so there they go. All these dudes do is lie, man. All these people do is lie. And what's crazy, you're going to have a lot of people that back these dudes up. They're going to defend these liars. It's like they have Stockholm syndrome or something. You know what I'm saying? All these folks from the globe, all they want to do is defend the BS. They're good for it. They're good for it. I don't know what else to tell you. They're good for protecting and defending these liars. It's crazy. And even though we're here, we've come, listen, they're not going to come out and say, hey, guys, by the way, it's almost as if people need the news to tell them we're here on the last days. People won't believe that it's the last days until CNN says it. Are we here on the last days? That's the only time people will be triggered to make a move, to do some kind of action. Are we approaching the last days? The last days as we know it, because we're here in a season of change, right? Revelation is being the truth is being revealed because when the truth is revealed to people that are ready for the truth, change happens, right? And this is change that we can all see. Now, change doesn't just happen overnight. I mean, unless it's something physical, then it can happen overnight for sure, right? Some degree. But change just doesn't happen overnight. Change oftentimes takes some time. But if you grow, if you're a human being, you will recognize change. For example, when I was a kid in the 80s, there was something called NutraSweet. And people used to drink things like Tab soda, right? And when you when you drank Tab soda, you had that bitter taste, and that was NutraSweet. People used to drink Tab soda like it was running out, going out of style. It was famous amongst smokers and people that wanted to smoke and not gain any weight. Now, it came out later on in the 80s, almost into the 90s, that NutraSweet is actually bad for you and cause things like cancer, right? After that went down, Tab Soda kind of was just out the market. And NutraSweet, which their symbol was that little swirly joint, right? Things like NutraSweet and Sweet and Low, like their stock not only plummeted, but people stopped eating NutraSweet. So now they were looking for a substitute business, things like stevia and things like all this other sugar replacements or sweetener replacements other than NutraSweet because it was known to give you things like cancer, right? NutraSweet. So that's a change. That was a big time change, right? So we go from drinking Tab soda to Coke Zero to this to that. Styles change. People's change. People's attitudes on things change. You know where I'm going to go with this, right? You know where I'm going to go with this. People like Bill Gates, who's also, related to people like Margaret Sanger, right? Like Madonna. These people are globalists. And these globalists looking for one world government, they're looking to reduce the population and they are looking to control you and me. And they're doing a bang up job. These guys are doing a bang up job. As a matter of fact, Bill Gates is doing a phenomenal job with getting his folks. Oh, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Bill Gates is doing a phenomenal job getting his people on board with folks getting the shot. And I'm not talking about no COVID vaccine. Look at who it is. Look at who, man, look at what the cat dragged in here. It's the Ghost of Judah tribe, man. The guest of guests, man. Brother, how you doing, man? It's always a pleasure. It's always good to see you, man. Ghost of Judah tribe in the house, man. Everybody give the ghost some love, man. Show him some love. Give him a round of applause for finally showing up in here. Thank you, man. But then again, me for actually filming on time, right? Or for filming. I'm good, brother, man. It's always good to see you, man. It's always good to see you. It's always a pleasure, man. Shout out to the ghost. So back to what I was saying. I want to show you guys a video. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but this basically shows you the shit that Bill Gates is on. And man, look, just watch. I just want y'all to see this. Y'all going to just sit there and shake your heads. But this is just more evidence as to why we can't trust these people, man. These people these are the worst. And what it is you're going to have to tell people and show people why they need to be on guard, why this world is designed the way the scripture said it was designed, and how it's related to this globalist agenda, and why they want to shut us up quick before we get our hands around their throats. Shane Peltz, how you doing, brother? All right. Man, it's good to see you, man. Hey, man, I got a YouTube, I got a Rumble man over here. It's amazing to see you. It's good to see you. Thank you. All right, so I'm gonna play this video. I want y'all to check it out, and let's enjoy that. This is from Go Black to Africa. All right, Go Black. Boom.
Black to Africa. Peace and blessing to all my brothers and sisters that are out there in the struggle, but yet trying to overcome.
And shout out to Go Black to Africa. Shout out to Go Black to Africa. If you haven't subbed to him, go ahead and sub to him. The brother's got some very good content. He is a retired Air Force veteran of 20 years. Count them, 20 years, right? And the brother served our country. He deserves some love. Show him some love. Make sure you sub to him. Make sure you let him know Ironwork 92,000, Iron Earth 92,000 sent you. Let's go back to Go Black.
And try to invest who are trying to hold you back. Listen to this right here.
Oh.
It's coming out with a digital ID program. That's right. Something as crazy as that, because Bill Gates is the one who's behind it and backing it. Check this video out, and I'll be back.
Now, it even gets worse. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation is continuing its global push to support its so-called government-backed digital ID programs, and this time setting its sight on Kenya, where it will advise the government on that country's Maisha Namba digital ID initiative that is currently under development. So, according to a Kenyan news agency, Gates' role is assisting the Kenyan government in its development, and the rollout of Maisha Namba was announced after a recent series of closed-door meetings with Kenyan President William Ruto. According to Biometric Update, Maisha Namba is supposedly expected to address different challenges, such as identifying and authenticating citizens, safeguarding primary registration documents such as birth certificates and national identity cards, and improving the management of the social programs and government operations. The project has been met with skepticism in some parts of the country. Rights groups have also been expressing concern over the possibility of discrimination and the erosion of privacy. But listen, I just told you in a very nice way. Now, let me just put it blatantly to you. The program targets the birth of new babies. So once you have your baby, before your baby leaves the hospital, you no longer get a paper birth certificate, but then you get a digital one that is somehow implanted somewhere on somebody's body.
Man.
Think about that, but have a listen to this.
Before we get to that man over there talking that bullshit, listen. Yes, Ghost of Judah tribe, exactly. They are using black people. I've said it. If I've said it once, I've said it a million times. Okay, let me tell you something. You don't have to agree. I don't need you to agree, but I need you to understand something. Okay, us black folks, whether we're in the States or we're in the continent, throughout the world, the black diaspora, right? These people with this melanated skin right here, like me, dark as hell. And I'm not talking about the tribe of Elam, neither. We will be the first. They will use this craziness on us first. Okay? They're going to get at us first before they give it to the rest of this world. You got to see that. Like, they run the same plate every single. You know what this reminds me of? This is what it reminds me of. I love analogies. This is what it reminds me of. Have you ever played video games, a game like Street Fighter 2 or something like that? And have you ever played against somebody that does the same move over and over again? Like if you play Guile versus Ryu and you don't know how to do the dragon uppercut, and then Guile jumps in, does a short kick, low punch, and then if you try to block, he waits for you, he gives you a series of kicks, and then if you're sitting there blocking, he walks up to you, grabs you, and throws you. And he runs the same move, and until you try to do something, he's gonna throw Yeah, exactly. Guile is going to throw a sonic boom at you and hit you, and after you get hit with a sonic boom, he's going to give you a flip kick. So I'm talking about it because I know it, and you get frustrated with people like that because they run the same move over and over again. The government is no different. The government is in cabal with people like Bill Gates, people like Elon Musk, people like them folks we don't trust, man. They're in cahoots with these people. And the first folks that they use this nonsense on is always going to be black folks. I'm trying to tell you. I'm trying to tell you. So this is why, like, they got us by the balls, man. I wish y'all could see that they're going to use like this whole racism thing. Like, they got us by the balls. And so after they finish using it on us, the more we don't say shit, the more y'all don't say shit about it, they're going to just turn it because your silence gives them the green light, right? Whether you agree with it or not, if you're silent about it, that gives them the green light to go ahead and run that same shit that they're doing to us on you. They're doing the same thing that they're doing to us. They're doing it to you. Like, after I've said it, and I've said it to the ghost, and we've discussed this for years now. Every other channel has heard this discussion that me and the ghosts are having. They saying the same shit I'm saying now. They saying the same stuff I'm saying now. But a lot of these are black channels, yes, but they're like, yo, if it happens to us, it's going to take some time, but it's going to eventually happen to you. Yes. Shane Peltz, exactly. Yes. Is compliance. Yes. And the more you're quiet about it, the more they're going to go ahead and they're like, okay, it's fine. And even if you're not quiet about it, they're going to say it's fine until you do something about it. Part of doing something is protest. Part of protest is like you can't give them a lot of the money that you've been giving them. Pixar, Disney, Oscar Mayer wieners and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Putting money towards shit like NFL, NBA. Like, you can't, when you support those things, you're giving them the green light. Now I know I sound cheap and I sound old fashioned. Absolutely, I get it. You know what I'm saying? I know, Ghost, you over there laughing. You're like, hey man, don't mess up my hustle. But at some point, you need to get with your folks, get with your community, and be like, listen, we are not putting our money towards this shit no more. We are done. We are absolutely done. And I don't know what it's going to take to get people to actually get together with their neighbor, whether black or white, it don't matter. You're going to have to be like, listen, I hear you. We ain't doing this, right? If you got corn and I got beets, we're trading, right? Or if I got beef and you got lamb, we're trading. If you got wool, whatever you got bullets, I got beef. Let's trade a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Let's do a crack deal or something like that. That's what we used to call it in the Navy. When you made a good deal, a good solid deal or a bargain deal, you call it a crack deal in the Navy. And you make that crack deal for them coffee cans. Yeah. That's one of the bargaining chips that we had when we were in the Navy. Back in the day, coffee cans came in this big old tin, this big ass steel tin, right? I forget how many gallons that was. That might have been like 3 gallons of coffee or something like that. And anytime you wanted something, you went ahead and, like, I was an electrician. People would come to me and they'd be like, hey, and this was one of the service things that I did on the ship. They'd be like, hey, man, could you fix my Gaylord hood? I don't know why it's acting up. Well, it was an easy fix. So I'd go in there, I'd be like, hey, man, you got to give me coffee and you got to give me breakfast because I'm about to do something that I ain't supposed to be doing. That's all I'm going to say. I don't need the Navy bringing me back and sending me to Captain's Mast. So anyway, long story short, they'd get power back into their oven and everything else like that. Everybody was good to go. So a lot of times you had jail rules. You know what I'm saying? I scratch your back, you scratch mine. Not in that way, folks. Not in that way. I know it's the Navy, but not in that way. But you make a crack deal. You make deals, and then you get things done. Anyway, back to the show. Maybe it ain't right to say, but I wouldn't mind if Bill Gates. Oh, damn. Oh, yeah. Nah. Half Warrior. Listen, A lot of people are singing the same tune you are. I promise you, Half Warrior. A lot of people are saying the same thing you are. So yes, things like medical supplies, medicine, aspirin, right? Education and books. You guys need to realize. Like I have a book on botany, right? And I've been putting, and it's an old book from like the 1800s or the 1800s, and I've been putting a lot of these principles to practice, right? And I've always had a great little bit of a green thumb, but I want to get better and I want to use less space and produce a little bit more stuff. So I've been using this book on botany, and a lot of these principles work, right? And when it comes to growing things, a lot of the stuff is you have to put your own spin on it, right? You have to put your own little funk on it to get the things to work the way they need to work. But if these principles are tried and true, those are the ones that you use, right? The principles of old, they never go out of style. So totally use them. Let's see what the chat is saying. Medical supplies, absolutely. Precious metals, yes, but more so things of use. The medical supplies, you know what I'm saying? Bullets, food, food with a shelf life, beans, beef jerky, pickled food. Learning how to having a skill is critical during times like that. You know what I'm saying? Whether you can weld, whether you can jerry rig some stuff up, whether you can cut wood, divide wood, things of that nature, like that would be critical in the times to come. Knowing and having a critical skill of use, right? Even having the gift of gab and keeping people's minds preoccupied. Let's go back to this video that I totally neglected to, continue to show y'all. But let's get back to it.
The digital ID, which has been a big problem to us for a very long time, is now on a testing mode for the next 2 months. I have been assured by all the stakeholders, led by the ministries concerned, that by December, we will be able to launch digital ID.
What did I tell you? You see? Let's go back to the chat. I'm sorry. Let's go back to the chat. So, it goes to Judah Tribe. My internet slow than molasses, boy. So, Morocco, Nigeria, Senegal, Seychelles, Rwanda, South Africa, Tanzania, Uganda, and Zimbabwe. 3 among them. Nigeria is benefiting from funding from the European Investment Bank to support the development of an EID infrastructure and supply by, you see, these Africans, I'm not going to talk bad about them. I'm not going to say what was about to come out. I'm not even going to say it. Not even going to say it, man. They asleep. A lot of them are asleep like, you know what? A lot of them are just asleep like many of us, right? It's happening, bro. The whole continent's going to have it. That's right. Shane. All right. Books, yeah. Seeds. Yes, seeds. Exactly. Seeds. And not things like the shit seeds, but make sure you stash your heirloom seeds, right? Clothing material. Yes, even rags. Small rags, lint, like you name it, you're going to need it. You're going to need it. Even ugly clothes, bells. If you got bell bottoms or whatever it is, man, you come out looking like you from the damn 60s or 70s, you're going to need that. Tools, yes, all that. You will need that. Canning, even just, yeah, exactly. Water bath, yes, all that. You're going to need all of that. And you're going to need every skill you can get your hands on. Nothing goes to waste. All citizens, yeah. But you see it. You see it. The proof is in the pudding. And that's what they do, man. That's what they do. When it came to things like, even, listen, here's a perfect example. AIDS. Before AIDS got up and popping? Where y'all think it was flourishing at? Before AIDS got up and running, man, it was popping in the continent. It was popping in Haiti. It was popping in places where they want to get rid of us the most. Look at look at the conflict and where it's happening. It's in the same place, Haiti, and much of the continent, like the Congo, right? AIDS is a big one. They use that to try and get rid of us. They couldn't get rid of us, and so what happens? The Most High, or something like, the Most High, the good, Yah, you know who it is, somehow found a way for it to reach our shores and for it to affect people that we didn't want it to affect, or that the government didn't want it to affect. But it got to everybody. It got to white folks. It got to y'all. AIDS is a perfect example of that. Listen, it's not me, right? It's not me or my message. I'm just here to bring you the truth. That's it. You can see it. You can see it. They use AIDS on us. I'm rubber, you're glue. It bounces off me, kind of sticks a little bit, but it eventually gets to you. And so that's how AIDS works. They did the same thing with AIDS, talking about, oh, we ain't got a cure. We ain't got a cure. Bullshit. You got a cure. Not only do you have a cure, you're using the shit perfectly, right? They're getting rid of a bunch of undesirable people, right? Because notice how it got to Black folks, it got to Hispanic folks, so the Black and the Hispanic and the poor community to poor folks. Then it went to gay people. Yes, yes. And here's the thing. I'm not the homophobe. I'm not the homophobe. They're the homophobes. They're the ones that wanted to get rid of the people that they felt was undesirable. That's why they passed off things like AIDS to wipe us out, to cut our numbers. This is why they brought those things like AIDS. This is why they brought those things like the Ebola and all that. This is man-made stuff, man. This is stuff that we all have a cure for, right? Whether it's in a lab or it's on this earth. But if you come up with a cure, what do you think happens to you? If you come up with a solution to a lot of these issues, they're going to get rid of you, right? I'm going to bring up this guy again, Moses West. Moses West, the guy who produced the water out of thin air machine, right? The brother is out there doing the Lord's work, right? And already the government is trying to sabotage his machine. But then again, he's turning around and he's trying to give the same machine to the government. So here I am, just confused as hell. Like, you're giving the machine to the government. If I was him, I'm just saying, if I was him, I would have a trigger. I would have a trigger in case I died. Everybody gets a copy of this damn contraption and how to build a small one on your own. How to make a small one of these devices, and you too can have water for yourself and your family members everywhere. Doesn't matter where. If I was him, that's how I'd have it. Every swinging person thing around here is going to be able to reproduce this product in case I were to die for just the craziest circumstances. That's what you need, man. That's what you need, because this government does not want you to have clean water. It does not want you to have a clean, thought process. It doesn't want you to have clean food. So they're going to do everything. It doesn't want you to have a clean here. It doesn't want you to have a clean soul. Everything they want you to own, or they want that's yours, they want it to be tainted. You have to understand that. You got to understand that. And it's unfortunate that we're at this time to where the only time people will listen is if they hear it from the TV, or as if they get it from the news, what many people would consider a reliable source. But it's a strange place to be, because it's like they know these people are liars, but they're going to believe them anyway. It's an unfortunate place to be, I think. Security will be number one. If you cannot protect your farm, you have nothing. That's right, Nano CBD, you got it. Hit the nail right on the head. Shane Peltz. Georgia Guidestones was their playbook. That's right. They want 13 out of 14 people. Yep. And then they'll keep those that they want. They'll keep those that they want. Absolutely. And then who do you think the slave class is going to be? It's these people that they're forcing into the United States right now. Because black people, let me tell you something. Black people in America, they're getting rid of us too. They're getting rid of us too. This is why they're pushing a gay agenda. This is why they're pushing, the Billy Oceans and the Nas X's and all this stuff. Because we have a penchant of reproducing well and reproducing quick. But they really want to get rid of black people, right? And so they're pushing a gay agenda, saying it's all right, it's okay. And then they're bringing in the illegal alien, and they're telling you that you can't call them illegal aliens no more, that's a slur. They're here illegally, though, right? They are aliens to this land, they're foreign, right? Here illegally, and then they're here to wipe us out and to wipe out our memory. That's what that is. And even if we elect Trump and put him into office, he's going to push the same thing. Yeah. Bill Gates is related to Margaret Sanger, bro. Real talk. Yep. It's unfortunate. And then they're going to say, no, that's not true. No, it's true. Yes. You know, the death rate from 2020 viruses has the highest amongst blacks and the Hispanics. Yes. Nano CBD. Yes, I remember. It is. It's amongst the highest that have the preconditions too. So if you have things like diabetes, high blood pressure, hypertension, heart disease, and cancers that you previously had and that are in remission, it's the highest amongst people like us, melanated folks, black people, right? And so they're going to unleash this fucking sickness on the population with us being the first to go. And so they're also going to push programs like jabs, like blunts for jabs, or blunts for weed for the cocoa. You name it. It doesn't matter. They're going to push for these things. And wait, do you think they're going to go to a white neighborhood and push for it? Which they did anyway. But they're going to start it off in the black community. They're going to start it off with a black community. And they're going to use faces of people that we trust and people that we enjoy, because black people can't go without entertainment, right? I'm sorry to say it, but I'm going to call a strike a strike. So they're going to have people like Juvenile. They're going to have all these celebrities, and I love Juvenile. Man, listen, Cash Money Records, I love Juvenile. I do. But after he did that sellout move and said, get the jab and this and that, I was like, I'm sorry, man. You can back your ass up, because I'm not having any of it. There's a play on the words. Girl, you look good. Won't you back that ass up? So anyway. But yeah, so he did all that. I couldn't fall for it. But they're going to use our own people against us. They're going to use people that we enjoy listening to, we enjoy watching, we get easily entertained by, and we get easily swayed by the entertainment folk. So that's what, and it should be it. You should be, if you're black, if you're melanated, you should be insulted with how stupid the government feels that you are as a melanated person like us, like me, right? You should be totally insulted. And y'all that are white sitting over there, y'all should be insulted alongside. And y'all should be like, shame on you, government, and let them know, listen, we ain't playing your shit no more. But silence is compliance. Shane Pelt said it perfectly. Silence is compliance. And when you see it happening to us, and you don't say nothing, and you just let that nonsense ride, it's going to meet you on your shores. I promise you. That train is never late. It will happen to you next. It's only a matter of time. Thank you, Vladimir. Got to catch my chips in. Oh, brother. Hey, Nano CB, half worded, brother. Thank you for coming, man. It's always a pleasure. It's always a pleasure to have you. And please, family, if you hadn't already, please make sure you like, make sure you sub. If you hadn't already, like, sub, share this because it's important. Listen, my English may not be the best, my camera may not be the best, it may be a little bit slow, but the messages are important. The videos are important because these guys, it's not me. They're producing this information. They're doing a lot of the heavy lifting. I'm just getting the information out to you. So you got to show these guys some love. Show me some love. Give me the thumbs up as well. But also show these guys love. Make sure you sub. Make sure you like their material, man, because these guys are out there getting it and they're working hard at getting it too. And also shout out to my man Ghost of Judah Tribe. Make sure you love, you like, you share, and subscribe to his material too, because we're coming up on Flat Earth Friday this Friday as well. Let's go back to Bill Gates' craziness right here in Africa.
Where every Kenyan don't have to carry any paper, plastic or otherwise, as an ID, that they should be able to be identified digitally using their iris or their fingerprints, and we can transact without the necessity of people struggling to identify who they are. And the proudest part of it is that we don't have to spend the billions that we have spent on all the other manenos, as all of you know.
Okay, so they're talking about spending money right there, right? They're about to get some poison put in their body. They don't know what the fuck they're getting put inside in their body. Excuse my language. Excuse my language. They have no idea. And notice, listen. All right, okay. All right. As a black person, I like free stuff. As a person, I like free stuff. If you're a person, you like free stuff. But I don't know about an injection that I don't know what the fuck you get. So you mean all this poverty in a lot of these countries, right? Even though they have all the brimming material and you name it underneath their, their land, they have everything there that God has provided them to be rich, to be wealthy, to be well fed, to be well hydrated. But you have evil people that go in there and they take all their resources and they call them poor people, which they really aren't poor, but I guess GDP wise, let's call them poor. For all intents and purposes, let's call them broke. You don't have a dollar to your name or whatever that currency is to your name, but you're going to give these people free shots. There it is. There's your game. It's exposed right there. You're going to give these people free shots, but instead of a Big Mac or instead of free food or instead of free clean water, you're going to give them a shot just so you could follow them around where they live. You're going to give them a shot just so if they get out of hand and out of turn, you can easily control them. That's why you're giving them a shot, like for real. But nobody's looking at it like that. I swear to you, everybody that lives here or elsewhere, you know what they're thinking? Whoa, thank God it's not here. It's not there yet, you dumb. It's not there yet. You give it some time, it's going to be there. Just like AIDS, just like that effing vaccine. You give it some time, it will be there. It will make it to your shores. I promise you. It works. It just works like that. It just works like that. But the problem with a lot of us is we let it slide and ride because it hasn't seen you yet, but it will. It will. And there it is. Africa getting it for free. Africa getting it for free. Like they're getting something good. See, you have this leadership. And here's the thing. This is why I'm convinced. This is why I'm so convinced that it's not a black and white thing. Like, of course, they use us first as the test dummy, right? As black people. They will. That's just how it is historically. They will use us first. But then they're going to put the poison in you, white people, and everybody else out there. You know what I'm saying? And so these leaders, these melanated leaders, they're never, all of them, they're in cahoots with the West, us here. They're in cahoots with our leadership. They're over there pushing the same BS for their own people. Because at the end of the day, they're going to live well. They're going to live in Europe or in a big old mansion in America somewhere. They're going to live well. And it's their people that suffer. And it's us that's going to be followed up, and we're going to suffer right behind. 201 pandemic. Okay, what's this right here? Before I go on with the video, nano CBD from October 2019. Yes, I remember that, and I made a video on it. I made a video on that, and you want to, yeah, where Bill Gates comes out and says, "Oh, yeah," and so we expect to decrease the population by 38% or something like that. And I'm like, what the fuck? I put that video out there, and I got struck. I got hit on YouTube, but I got strike. Yeah, I put that video out there early when I was making videos. I did that. I remember. But I got that video from one of the guys. I don't see him no more. He's a good dude. He's a Mormon guy, and he's a flat earther as well. Good guy, like him. Just don't hear from him no more. But let's go back to the video. But yes, I remember that Agenda 21, that Event 21. Excuse me.
We're taking things that are, genetically modified organisms, and we're injecting them in little kids' arms. We just shoot them right into the vein.
Kenya is in serious trouble. Now, for you to accept this, that means you're going to be completely surveilled and controlled. Think about it. So they have targeted the new babies, of course, even the ordinary citizens, the grown-ups, the young ones, the teenagers, and even the elderly ones will receive this digital ID. But they will then create a new generation where they'll be completely under this digital ID and they have no choice.
What do you think? Let me say this right here. Let me put it blatantly or bluntly. People say, well, what's the big deal, Go Black? I mean, hey, it's a digital ID. People don't have IDs. They're antiquated when it comes to their so-called technology and just a quick way of identifying people. Au contraire, brothers and sisters. You see, I have an advantage than most people do because I have the so-called a mindset. Because I was in damn Erica, put the D in front of America, capitalize the E, damn Erica, for majority of my life. I've served 20 years in the military, served in the intelligence and other commands that were there in the military. And I understand the way that they think. Yes, that's right. So when you talk about anytime a Western world wants to do anything with Black folks, it's something that they're trying to advance for their own common good, not yours. So what is it? Well, we know that he says, the President Ruto says in Kenya, it'd be Irish, or fingerprint identification. Well, yes, that sounds innocent as much as we may believe. Of course, we have to use fingerprints, when we have to get visas coming into other countries. And some of you all who work in high security places may even have to use your eyes to enter in. But what is the downfall or the cons behind the very thing that you might think is so innocent? Well, Bill Gates said they shoot an identity ID within the baby. We know that the so-called Bible or the conspiracy theorists who are out here are talking about, the so-called Antichrist will be the chip taking on the 666 image of the evil one, if you will. But let's go further than that. When you really think about it, putting a chip in someone, we know is an identity that you just can't remove. It's there. It will always be there.
Yes.
But what if you decide that you just don't want to be identified? Matter of fact, what goes on that identification? What is on there that would be so interesting that Bill Gates and others would want to retrieve if something happens to you? Let me give you a scenario. Let's just say, because there are those out there who've already made mention that the melanin in our skin is highly desirable.
Yes.
For the sake of many of them maintaining a youth.
Yep.
But let's go to the next place of this. I had to do some research and find out what is the child's birth rate per year in Kenya. To my amazement, it's 1.2 million children born per year. Now you had to look up the so-called neonatal mortality rate, or the children that die. It's 3.36%. Now you might say, oh, 3% of baby deaths out of 1.2 million. That doesn't seem like a lot anyway. Oh, yes, it is. That's 40,300 and something children that die a year. And that's just Kenya. Can you imagine if on this ID that it has, of course, the genetic or the DNA genetic code for each individual baby. Of course, we know they're going to have the blood type. We're going to have all the different types of where many people who are going to want to have so-called, your organs, transplants and things, which is high on the scale for sales around the world, would be a great idea when you don't have to retrieve paperwork and finding out what is this baby's makeup. And so the baby can easily be sold when you go ahead and quickly identify by hitting the so-called barcode on that child, and then turn around and cast it around the world of what is for sale. We already know that the evil exists around this world. And we know the Western worlds have run tests on many of Africans, hence HIV that has been spread throughout the continent of Africa by those who had their own evil agendas and trying to deplete the population in Africa. I don't know when they're going to wake up. We don't die, we multiply. But they also in America have done programs, St. Louis, Missouri, that they drove around in 1973, spraying in the communities, trying to find out.
Before I continue, yes, Shane Peltz, brother, I appreciate you. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. And yes, Shannon, exactly. I'm not a donor neither. Hell no. I have to get some people off of that and tell them, listen, that ain't what you want, bro. Do not give them that stuff, because that is, let's check this out. Let me finish reading it. Another scary prospect. If you look into that, say no when you renew it. Exactly. And the reason behind that, because Shannon didn't finish her thought, but Shannon's right on the money, right? Shannon Emerson, you're right on the money. Now, the thing is, if people see this, if enough people, if the right, or rather the wrong people see stuff like this on your driver's license or in your record, that you're willing to give up a heart, a lung, a kidney, skin, eyeballs, hair, fingernails, a tongue, muscles, balls, ovaries, let me tell you something. It may sound like it's over the top. It isn't. It isn't. They've already been it's unfortunate that I got gold black looking crazy as hell in this pause picture right here. But they've already been pulling penises off of African dudes. Listen, I know it sounds crazy, but the Chinese, they already did it, bro. They started pulling dicks off of them African cats, bro. I know it sounds crazy. We live in a crazy, crazy world. It sounds crazy. They're pulling this stuff off. So if you're an organ donor, that means everything. You're willing to give them every and anything that they need. Organs don't just mean your brain, heart, lung. Every and any. If it means your skin, they'll take your skin. They'll take your eyeballs. So part of that also means is they'll kill you if they don't think that you're worth living, but enough to fulfill a chop shop. They will turn you into parts. There are people that, listen, especially if you black, in the South, in places like Mississippi, cats go turning up missing. They turn up missing, and their body parts are, just scattered about to the wind, right? And then their organs are missing, or their body parts are all there, like their limbs are all there, but their internal organs are missing, with the eyes missing. This is a big business. Same thing happened after the Haitian earthquake. The IDF went into Haiti, and then they started plucking black people left and right. Haiti is such an easy target. Not only are they experiencing, and they have been experiencing, turmoil for years now, but they're an easy target because of the turmoil. Because of that turmoil, it's like the Wild West. And so white people could run up in there roughshod Anybody that's not melanated or black can go in Haiti roughshod, grab a person and do whatever they want with them. Repercussion free. So during the Haitian earthquake, you had them Israelis running up in there and plucking late Haitian people left and right and doing God knows what with them. Doing God, and that's the allegation. Allegedly, that's what they were doing. Doing God knows what with these Haitian people. Just off the street. Listen, it's not, it doesn't, with what I read from that book, the Talmud, it doesn't shock me at all that you have a group of people that would do something like that to people. Doesn't shock me at all, because you are considered goyim. You are considered a beast of burden, goyim. You are a slave to them. So they don't mind taking you and cutting you up into parts and then, scattering your body about to the winds. They don't mind doing that. Ghost says, my slow ass internet. Ghost, what does the ghost say? The ghost says, takes the kidnapping aspect away. You're literally giving up your right to do them corruption to. Exactly. Yep. That's right. That's right. That's right. Also, if you get admitted to the hospital, they have to try to take you to sign the paperwork. Tell them you will sign consent forms on a case-to-case basis. Otherwise, the papers you sign are a blanket consent. Yes. And then if something happens, they're gonna pull the plug, and then there it is, man. Your organs are up for sale, baby. They're gonna put all that stuff on ice. Especially if you hadn't been through some kind of cancer remission or nothing like that, your organs will be on ice. On ice, I tell you. They're going to just turn you into a little meat market. It's crazy. It's messed up, but to these people, man, we don't count for shit. We don't count for shit for these people, man. It's fucked up, but it's true. Let's go back to Go Black.
St. Louis in 1973, where they drove around and sprayed toxin illuminants to see whether or not what the effects would be upon a black people for the military's so-called advancements in biological warfare, or the Tuskegee Airmen, where these black men were suffering with syphilis and they had the so-called,
not the Tuskegee Airmen, the Tuskegee experiments. Two totally different things. Tuskegee experiments. Also, there's a good book on the Tuskegee experiments I highly recommend you guys get. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put it in there. Okay, I got the copy. It's called Bad OD, right? Bad Blood. Check that out. You should be able to find it on Amazon. If you don't, probably not. It's fine. You can download a copy. I have a copy of a lot of these books. I'm going to start uploading them, and I'm going to start making photocopies and uploading them into the system so I can make them available to everybody, just so you have these things. Knowledge is power, but the use of knowledge is usable power. So you need to know where to find this stuff, how to find this stuff, always to have the stuff on hand, and don't try not to have everything digital. All right, try not to keep everything digital online in the cloud. These jokers will get a hold of it and get rid of it. You won't have it. So make sure you have a way to have immediate access to a lot of this information, because it's critical for these latter days, I'm telling you.
Cure, and then they just use them as lab rats to follow along for 20, 30, 40 years to see what the effects are, only for their own selfish gain. Or when you talk about when it was the drugs, whether it was the heroin, whether it was other psychedelic drugs that they have given to prisoners. We saw that there was a documentary done of Black people that were in the prisons, that they had made promises that if they go ahead through these so-called tests, they could benefit. And only to find out years later, these tests they put them under basically caused them psychotic. Many died early on. You see, we're always the test bed of many of these countries and nations. And I'm tired of these African leaders who think that everybody's their friend, that they can go ahead and have confidence that they're out for the good of the people. You see, Africa, y'all need us who come from the Western world, because apparently, somehow, some way, many of you all are fooled. And President Ruto, I'm surprised at you. But you did say it in your statement, stakeholders. You see, this is all about money, family. This is all about greed, because everybody stands the chance to make money except for those poor children who will be inoculated with daggone a chip or some identification, so that then if something happens while they're through their infancy stage, their adolescent stage.
Guys, don't forget to like, don't forget to sub, don't forget to share. Like, share, sub. Like, share, sub. LSS. LSS. Like, share, sub. We continue.
They can just go ahead and find the information and then sell them off. Now, you say that I'm crazy. Check the history of these evil people who go around the world making billions of dollars off the backs of us. Well, family, that's all I got to say. But, you know, it's time for us to wake up. It's time for us to think about it. Because if you don't, you and yours will be a sucker to those who are waiting by the wayside to reap millions off of you. This is your man, not your boy. Go black to Africa.
Think about it. Think about it. And make sure you like, sub to Go Black. Go to Go Black. He's a good brother, man. May not be the message that you want, but it's the message that you need. Know what I mean? That's a good brother right there, man. That's a good man. And he's got some good and powerful information. Whether you black, white, this man, hey, you don't have to agree. But the truth shall set you free. That rhymes, by the way. So, Shannon, what do we have? Stop screen right there. Yeah. They got paid around $300,000 per person for remdesivir and ventilation, and then if they died of COVID, so sad. It was. That's right. That's right. That's what got Rob Skiba. That's what got Rob Skiba. They intubated him, and it's a lot of this intubation. I don't know if the intubation, the way they did it, probably collapsed the lung too, with all the stuff that was going in through there and all that nonsense, and they killed people, man. They killed these perfectly healthy people. Man. True that, Shannon. The pandemic was a revenue stream for the healthcare industry and for Big Pharma just in time. Pfizer revenues were down $20 billion a year prior in 2020. Exactly. Ooh. And also, let me tell you about guys that made money. Now, do you guys remember that one electrical company that was putting light bulbs everywhere in all these street lights and street lamps, and you had the purple street lamps? Do y'all remember that company? Let me tell you. You should see the dividends. They're called Duke Electric. Duke, D-U-K-E, Electric. What's their symbol? D-U-K. They're selling at $97 a share right now. Let me explain to y'all something. I did a video on this, right? And Duke Electric went up tremendously during the cocoa time frame, right? During that vaccine time, these guys, and here's the thing, I'm saying that because apparently they made an error when they put those purple lights everywhere. These are UV lights, right? And their thing is, we put these LED lights in there because they use less power. They use less power. They don't do this. They don't do that. I'm like, no. Because if you're going to use less power, you're probably going to use a longer wavelength, right? And if you want people to see you from a distance, you won't use something like blue. Instead, You'll use something with a short wavelength. You'll use something with a longer wavelength, which is why the back of cars, when you look at the lights on the back of cars, what colors do they normally appear as? Orange-ish, red-ish. If you look on a visual light spectrum, right, you're going to go from Roy to G, which is green, which is neutral in the middle, to blue-iv, right? IV, indigo, violet, right? Indigo and violet. So when you violet or purple, right? Or whatever. Because blue is like purple and well, yeah. Indigo is like blue and purple mixed. I'm sorry, I had a little bit of a little stroke moment. Anyway, so like these guys are feeding us a big old flipping lie, and I'm like, that's not at all true. If you want to transmit further, right, and you want people to not burn their eyes out, nothing like that, then you're going to change the light. You're not going to put LEDs of a bright ass short wavelength light like that, right? So things that are at a longer wavelength that aren't going to burn your eyes out, where you can still see stuff. This is why on naval ships, in movies and everything else, you see cars, excuse me. You'll see what when taps lights out. When it's time to go to bed, the berthing where we sleep, the berthing area is covered in red light. Because red light, you can still see everything, but with your eyes closed, you're not really going. It's not going to disturb your sleep. It's not going to mess up your sleep and give you like alpha sleep, Charlie sleep, whatever that sleep pattern is. It's going to let you experience a good sleep to a deep sleep. It's not going to mess your eyes up, even with your lids covering. You know what I'm saying? The wavelengths are nice and long, and they're not going to ruin you. So this Duke Energy, going to my point, these dudes, let me tell you exactly. Let me show you, right? In fact, I could get it on here. Why am I talking about it when I could get y'all on here? These dudes, unbelievably, should be like at $97 a share or something. Yeah, $97.30. Here it is. Overview. I'm gonna show y'all. Okay, I'm gonna share this with y'all, and y'all can check it out yourself. But this is the company, Duke Electric. These jokers over here are the ones that put all them purple street lights that you see throughout a lot of these city-like areas, right? A little bit more of the congested-like areas. I made a few videos early on about these purple street lights and how they don't belong where we live, but they're here anyway. Here we go. Right here. There it is. So let me show you something. 5 years, 2019. Here they go. 2019, pretty average. Boom. Boom. Pandemic. Boom. Boom. March, look at where they go. Look at where they go March, right? March is when the craziness, March 2020, the craziness is happening, right? March 2020, the craziness. March 2020, everything bottoms out. Usually when it bottoms out like that, if you put a Fibonacci sequence up on there, look at the exponential rise. March 27th, after it bottoms out like that, because that's as low as it's going to go for a long time, right down there where that green dot is at. Then the exponential rise, boom. In like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 5 years ago, 4 years ago today, look at that. 90.31, right? Goes from $68 where it bottoms out. That's the cheapest you're going to get it. March 20th to like 3-4 weeks later, 3 weeks, 2 weeks later, something like that. April 9th, 90.31, today's anniversary, right? Then it goes on does this pattern right here throughout the year. June does a roller coaster ride. We're getting purple lights, purple lights, purple lights throughout the nation. And instead of experiencing where they experience something like this and losing money, no, look at this. For all their mistakes, a nationwide mistake. This is what they get. Duke Electric. This is them. You see? Duke Electric. Purple lights and all. Oh, we'll fix the mistake. The purple lights are good for you. Well, if the purple lights are good for us, why are you going to fix that mistake if it's a mistake? Because the purple lights are good for us, remember? Why is it a mistake? Liars. Bullshit. Here it is. There it is right there. This is how these dudes are doing. This is how these dudes are doing. See? And then look. Where is it? Dividend yield. 4.2% a month. 4.2% a month. So if you get one of those stocks, if you just buy one share, you're going to get something. You're guaranteed something okay back, a little bit of change. You'll make more off their dividends than you would if you left money in savings every month, every year. You'll make or a little bit of money, that same amount of money in savings. You'll make more off their dividends annually than you would have from the bank with that same amount, that 97.32 every month, 4.5%. And this is them on the rise. Right now, $97. Unreal. But this is the thing, is we're rewarding a quote unquote mistake. So these guys are bouncing between, oh, it was a mistake, to no, purple light is actually good for your eyes. Which is it? This is Duke Electric. Which is it? Yeah, man, we're being had, y'all. We're being had big time. Lied to big time. Let me get rid of that screen right there. Yep. Pfizer revenues. Yep. And all that craziness, man. Like, family. Oh boy. I do my best to not rant and rave and go crazy and all that stuff, but it's been a few weeks. And I really miss y'all. You know what I'm saying? I miss y'all, family. And I'm glad to have been able to get back with you and do this. Please don't forget to like and share and subscribe if you hadn't already. And spread this news out to everybody else, man, because I don't hide truth from people. I don't. You guys my audience happens to be very well read. And if you don't know, it's always okay to come in and ask questions. It's always okay to see where it is or why it is we think the way we think, right? If you don't understand something, it's okay to ask. And if you do understand something and it's something that I hadn't mentioned, maybe it's something I don't know. And so it's up to you, family, to bring these things to our attention, right? Because iron sharpens iron. Purchases up 1.4 million %. Guess what it is? May 2012, one asset that you purchase is up 1.4 million %. Gold? See, it's CBD. May 2012, right? Because at that time, I think it's 2009, with President Obizi, as soon as he came into office, herb became like the thing to, have stock-wise. But us in the military, we weren't allowed to purchase marijuana stock, CBD stock, anything related to marijuana. Weren't allowed to buy it. Not allowed to buy it. Also, I think if you hold a security clearance, you're not allowed to buy marijuana stock. I need to check into that, but if you work for the DOD or you hold some kind of security clearance, no. Can't buy marijuana stock. Definitely can't smoke marijuana with a clearance. Can't do that, and so you definitely can't smoke or you can't purchase marijuana stock. And yeah, marijuana. Yep, I could see it being an MJ stock. Yep. There are a lot of good stock and capable stock out there. A lot of money to be made in the market, but a lot of us can't partake, unfortunately. So Oh, it's Bitcoin. Oh, wow. You had it since 2012? Woo! No. Oh, you are on fire, my man. You are on fire. Back then, yeah, Bitcoin was cheap as hell. Yeah, and then they let it go up to 50 grand, and then they brought it back down to 6 grand. And it's like people thought it was the end of Bitcoin. And I was like, nah, man, that joke is just going to keep going. It's going to shoot right back up. And that it did. And it's the highest it's ever been these last few weeks, few months. It's the highest it's ever been. And it's going to be crazy to see where it goes from this point on. I predict that it goes well into the 200s. That's what I predict. I predict Bitcoin is going to go into 200,000. And those that hold it, yeah, those that hold it, my God, it's going to be, yeah, you guys are going to be the new Rockefellers. You guys are going to be the new Rockefellers. It's going to be crazy. You guys are going to be the new JP Morgans and everything. I sincerely predict that those that have Bitcoin still have it. Lord have mercy. Whew. Anyway, family, we are 2 hours deep into True Earth Tuesday. It's always a pleasure, family. It's always a pleasure. But I'm going to have to cut it long. Right? I would say cut it short, but we're 2 hours heavy. So, woo. 1.5 million by 2032. Wow. 3 to 70 going to 1.5. Wow. That's woo, man, that is ridiculous. Anyway, YouTube family, we are 2 hours and 2 minutes heavy. And I really appreciate y'all for coming out and doing this with us tonight, because I had quite a bit that I needed to get off my chest and to share with y'all. We had a lot going on these last couple of weeks where YouTube decided they didn't want to hear my mouth no more. It's all good because Rumble does, and you do. And since you do and Rumble does, man, I'm going to share myself with y'all. You know what I'm saying? I love having y'all, and I love that y'all love having me every week, every time I can produce whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got the best English out there, but man, y'all get to kick it with me, and we get to speak truth. We get to speak truth to whatever it is that's out there. We're just doing the best we can with what it is we got at the end of the day. So make sure you guys are drinking your water. Make sure you guys stock up on limes. Look for lime seeds. That's another thing that's quite expensive is lime seeds. So if you can find heirloom lime seeds, I highly recommend you go to eBay, you go to Amazon, get some heirloom lime seeds or lime seeds organic from a place like India or something like that. All right. Because these guys are making things like lime totally hard to get a hold of. There's a reason why anytime you cut into a lime, they ain't got seeds in them. So you're going to have to get a hold of lime seeds. Limes are. So anyway, YouTube family, that's all I got for tonight. Again, thank you for joining me. Thank you for everybody new that got onto Rumble and is rocking with me and like, share, subscribe. I appreciate you. Everybody that came in tonight, that came in, gave me a thumbs up, left, gave me some love. I appreciate you. Everybody that came in that agrees or disagrees, I appreciate y'all. You know what I'm saying? Anybody that's sharing tonight with us, with me, I appreciate you. I appreciate you giving me your time and your attention, and me being able to share what it is I know or what it is I think with you, right? Of course, providing the evidence that we have in front of us. Other than that, I'm not going to be as long-winded next time. I'll do my best and I'll try to keep it short and sweet. But I wish you guys nothing but the best, YouTube family, and Rumble and YouTube. I wish you guys nothing but the best. Thank you, Rumble, for affording me this time. Health, wealth, love, joy, prosperity, most of all, wisdom. All right. And with that, I love you. I'm out. Peace.